So now we start the MATLAB. So what is MATLAB? MATLAB stands for the Matrix Laboratory actually. So whenever we have the MATLAB means there are two word, mat and lab. Mat means matrix, lab means laboratory. So this is basically actually this is known as the matrix laboratory, and this is the language which is widely used by the scientists and engineers for their research work. And the MATLAB is very simple language, and we don't, it has no restriction whether you are from the computer background or whether you are not from the computer background. Everybody can learn the MATLAB very easily. A very simple sentence you need to write with the help of the MATLAB, and you don't require to write some complicated loops or something else. Those who have the experience of other programming language, you know that if you go for the other programming language like C or C++, Java, then you need to write the statements, and somewhat for even a small job you need to write the complex statement. But in case of the MATLAB, you will find it very simple, and you don't require to go for some complications. Very simple statement, just like you are writing the English statement. And most of the cases you will feel that you are writing the English statement or you are doing the mathematics. Just like you are adding the two matrix, it is very simple. Just say that if A and B are the two matrix, you just say A plus B. But in other programming language, you will not be able to do like this. So MATLAB means Matrix Laboratory, and this is the high performance language for technical computing, and this is widely used for the researchers and engineers. And we are doing the you have to, as you are using the MATLAB, because you are going to do the computations. While when you are going to use any programming language, actually, what the purpose of programming language is to go for the computation. So we have you have some input actually, you have some input, and you want some specific output for based on the input you have. So for getting the specific output from the input you are going to supply, and we are interested for some kind of output, and we need to transform this input into the form of output, and this process of transformation is actually the computation. Okay, so we refer as the computation word. And for doing the computation, how this input can be transformed to the output, we have the input, and every time we are interested for finding some sort of output. So how you are getting the output? For that, actually, you need to write the sequence of statements here, or steps you can say. So you are writing the sequence of steps, and if your computer follow this sequence from top to down, then you will have output. So for every statement you are writing, every statement has some precondition and some postcondition. Precondition means every statement of your algorithm, it takes some input and it has some output. That output is taken by the next step, and then next step is also going to produce some sort of output. And in this way you are marching towards the output. So one by one you are going to transform the input into the form of the output. And once you are executing the last statement, this is the end of your algorithm, then you have some particular output. So this is the computation. So that's why for doing the computation work, you have to use the machine, you have to use the computer. So computation does not mean that you are going for the mathematics, you are doing the arithmetics or something like this. It is not so. Whatever problem you are going to solve, whenever you are using the computer for solving the problem, that is the computation work. So for computation, actually, you know that computer has to supposed to execute the instructions you are given. So computer itself cannot make any kind of decisions. You have to tell the computer clearly that what you need to do, and that you have to specify in some format. Like we have in every language, like you have the English language, or you may have the Marathi language, or you may have French language. So for every language, we have some kind of syntax for specifying the statements. So in English, you can say different way. In Hindi, you can say different way. In French language, you can say different way. The same thing, you have to learn actually here, how you can specify the statement. If you want to add two matrix, so how you can tell the computer to add two matrix with the help of the MATLAB statement. So MATLAB is the programming statement, just like it is the language, programming language, just like we have the English language, Hindi language. This is also the language, but these are the natural languages. And programming language and natural language are different actually. So once we go for the natural languages, then we have a lot of ambiguities. But in programming language, we don't have any kind of ambiguity. So in programming language, every statement of your every statement actually satisfy the property of clear. Deterministic one means every statement of your program is clear and deterministic. So it should not have any doubt. Like if you say that, if you just mention that add A or B to C. So if you specify this kind of statement, add A or B to C, means the value of A or value of B is added to the C. This is the meaning in general in Hindi, English language. But if you tell the computer to do like this, add A or B to C, then computer is not going to execute this statement because this statement is not clear. It is not clear. So why it is not clear? Because computer has to take the decisions. You have the choices. The computer has to choice, machine has choice whether it has to add A or it has to add B. So machine has to make the decisions. And once machine is going to make the decision, this is the case of non-deterministic one. And present programming language cannot handle this kind of non-determinism. So whatever present programming language we have in computer or that are used for the scientist community or engineers, they are having the nature in the they are the unambiguous. So you need to specify unambiguous statement, means your statement must be clear and definite. So if you want to add A or B to C, then clearly you have to say whether you want to add A or whether you want to add B. Machine is not going to make any kind of decisions. So this is the limitation we have in the, and this is the actually difference in your natural language and programming language. Whereas if in the programming language, if you say some English sentence, then it may have 2-3 different meanings, and we identify that, okay, what you mean by this. So if you somebody say that in English, it says that go to bank. Okay, go to bank. So generally in the English, if somebody says that, okay, go to bank, so where you will go? So naturally, how would you know that where you are going? You have to go. So this is actually this statement has the ambiguity, and this is the natural language statement, and it has the ambiguity. And how computer is going to handle this word kind of sentence? Go to bank. So since this is the ambiguous statement, unlike the programming language where we don't have any kind of any ambiguity in the statement, but in natural language you will have the ambiguity like this. So how computer can identify what is the most probable meaning for this sentence? If somebody asks that go to bank, then where you will go? Why this is the ambiguous statement? Because bank has several meaning you have. Bank can be the financial bank, means you can go to the SBI bank or something like this, HDFC bank. So you may wish to go to the financial bank. Somebody say that go to bank. Somebody may go to the river bank. Somebody may go for the DNA data bank in Japan. So somebody may go to the Japan where the DNA data bank is there. Somebody may go to the NCBI, USA, where the National Center for the Bioinformatics Information. So bioinformatics data are stored in the NCBI server. Some may go for the EMBL lab. So European Molecular Biological Laboratory, EMBL, where you have the biological data. So bank has several meanings where you will go. So that's why for resolving this kind of ambiguity, computer has to look back, and it needs to refer that what was spoken before this sentence, and on behalf of that it is going to resolve this kind of ambiguity. And that's why natural language processing with the help of the computer becomes difficult task, because it takes time for resolving the ambiguity. and every sentence of the natural language are full of ambiguity. So if somebody, if your students comes to you and you are demanding for the fees, and your student says that I don't have cash at present time, and then you may say that okay, go to bank, and this means students is supposed to submit the fees, and you have told that go to bank. It means student has to go to financial bank. He will not go to the river bank. So this is the way. Once you look before what was spoken, on behalf of that, computer is going to resolve, and computer is going to make the decision that okay, the most probable meaning of this statement is you have to go to the financial bank. But in programming languages, we don't have this kind of ability. Programming language, if you write the ambiguous statement in your programming language, then your compiler or interpreter will not be able to compile or interpret. So that this is the difference in the programming language and natural language. So whenever you write the statement, whenever you are solving the problem with the help of the programming language, then every statement you have to write very clear and definite, so that computer don't require to make any kind of decisions. There should not be any choice like this, add A or B to C. So in every programming language, those who are not in the computer background, they should know that every time you need to write the statement, that must be clear and unambiguous. You should not mean that your MATLAB will handle this kind of situation, add A or B to C. No, you have to specify whether you want to add A or whether you want to add B, which value you want to add to the C, add A or B to C. So whether you want this or whether you want this, you have to clearly specify. So once you are going to write the program, it means you are going to write the program for the computation work. Means you have some input and you want that okay, you want to see some kind of output, and for obtaining the output you have to write the statement to transform your input into the form of output, and your computer is going to execute the statements one by one. Means computation is going on, and during the computation your machine is going to change its mind setup every time it is going to execute the next statement. And mind setup means the states of the machine is going to change. So at the beginning state, machine is in the some different state, and once the execution is going on, once computation is going on, machine has different inputs, and on behalf of that input, machine is going to change from one state to the other state, and this is the computation occurs in the machine. So you don't worry to know how computations occur. Those who are not in the computer background, this you should not go in depth to know that whatever you are writing, it should be transparent to you that how this statement is going to execute. You just need to learn that how you can specify. You want to solve some problems, and for solving some problem, you have to specify your problem in the language that computer can understand. So there are a number of programming language in computer where you can write, and MATLAB is one of the programming language. And this MATLAB is designed only for the person, those who are having not, those who have no or little background about the programming language. So you don't require much complications or much complicated structures or notion of the programming language. You just require small little skills, and you will be able to write the programs. So MATLAB is the goodness of MATLAB is like this. The statements you need to write is very simple. It is not very difficult, and later on we will come to know automatically. If you have some data and you want to visualize the data, okay, so you have some data and you want to know that what is the property, how your data is scattered like this, and you are doing some kind of classification. Then you see that okay, some data are here and some data are here, and this is the boundary which can classify this and this data. So you have understand the data, and for understanding the data, actually you need to go for the visualization work. So visualization you can also do with the help of the MATLAB very easily, and very easy programming environment you will find here. So generally we are going to do maths and computation, and I have told you that computation means you are going to execute the programs. That is the computation work. It does not mean that you are solving some mathematical equations. You are just solving the problem with the help of the computer and transforming the input into the form of output. So algorithm development is actually algorithm means that you are supposed to write the, just like I told you that you have some input and you are going to obtain some kind of output, and how you are going to transform this input into the form of output. And for that actually you need to write the sequence of steps, and these steps are the algorithms. So those who are not in the computer background, those mechanical students or applied mathematics or applied chemistry, you just know that steps. And for everything you know that there are steps. Whether it is the computer problem or whether it is some general problems, you need to proceed in some form of steps. So step by step you have to go for. Even you are going for the cooking, and for the cooking you have the steps you need to follow. But here you need to write the steps that computer can follow, because you are using the computer for execution of your algorithm. Here I mean algorithm means I mean that I'm talking about the computer algorithms, because you are using computer system for solving your problem. So whenever you are using your computer system for solving the problems, means whenever you are implementing your algorithm in some sort of programming language, then this is the computer algorithm actually. So algorithm development means you will develop the skill for writing the small programs. A small program means a small algorithm. An algorithm is nothing. You will write the group of instructions. So, and you once you submit the instruction, your computer will follow. Your MATLAB will facilitate that to the computer, and to provide the information that okay, somebody has assigned this group of statement and computer needs to execute one by one. So you will have algorithm means some group of statements, program means some group of statements. Once I say algorithm and program, you will algorithm generally actually mean that you are writing the general steps. And once I say programs actually, then you have written the statement, you have written the steps of your algorithm in programming syntax. So algorithms can be written in your English language, but when you are going to write the program, then your English language, whatever the steps of your algorithm, must be converted to the programming language. So whenever you are writing the statement in programming language, then this is the program. And when you are writing the steps for solving some problem in English-like language, then this is the algorithm, simply. So modeling, simulation, and prototyping is also very easy. There are a number of simulation tools in the MATLAB. You will find that modeling tools, and for that, whenever you physical experiment is not possible, you can go for the simulation work, and you will have the tools in the MATLAB. You can learn the tools whenever you need it. Data analysis is there. You will have the statistics tools also, and you will be able to visualize the data, and you will have the different facilities of plotting the graph so that you can easily analyze your data, visualization sets. So scientific and engineering graphics, application development, including graphical user interface, GUI, some sort of GUI you can also go for designing. So just like nowadays you have the graphical user interface. So you just click on some GUI and you will have some facilities. So GUI you can also be designed very easily with the help of the MATLAB. But for this course you don't require to learn GUI. Just we are going to learn how you can use MATLAB for writing some simple statement, and how you can use MATLAB for plotting your data, or for plotting some kind of graphs, or doing some kind of mathematical computations. So we will also learn at the last, we will learn that okay, how you can solve the complex mathematical equation, like how you can solve the differential equation with the help of the MATLAB, or how you can solve the integration. If you require to solve the integration, how you can solve the integration with the help of MATLAB. And for if somebody asks you that if you have the differential equation and or some you have some definite integrations, say for example, so if you have some sort of definite integrations, then you need actually lot of skills to write a program for solving a definite integral. So it is not easy, but you will have the mathematics in the MATLAB. We will see that there is a facility in the MATLAB. With the help of the MATLAB, you can solve differential equations, you can solve indefinite integrals, and you can solve the system of equations with the help of the MATLAB very easily. So at the last we will learn this kind of skills also. So this is our overall notion. So in the MATLAB mainly consists of the high level matrix and array, because I have told you that everything in MATLAB is matrix. So whatever variables you are going to do, it is MATLAB consider everything as the matrix. And we will have the notion of the array here. Actually, the person who is not in computer, they must know that array means you have some group of values, and the group of values you can store. So you have some group of values and you can store. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You will have the array of the information. So by one name, say you have the A, and by one name you are going to access all the elements. So this is the kind of array you have. Then control flow, if you have some kind of conditions that, okay, if on some condition, you have some condition, if this condition is satisfied, then you can do some particular portion, particular jobs you need to do. But if the condition is going to fail, then you can go for this part. So whether you are going to execute this part or this part, it depends on the condition. So this is the control flow. Your control is transferred from this to this. So this is the flow of control. So control flow is simply, you mean control flow is simply you have some conditions. Say for example, if A is greater than B, like this. So if A is greater than B, then you are going to execute this part. Else, say for example, you are going to execute this part. This is the flow of control. So whether you are executing this part or this part, it depends on the condition. So you're transforming the flow of control. You need, sometimes you may have some big problems, and we have some complex problem you have, and for this complex problem you need to write the programs. But once you are going to write the program, it will be messy, like the situation means you have to write number of lines. So instead of writing, what you need to do, you have to break this program into the small sub part, and this is known as the modular program. So you have some small modules you have. So, and these modules you can write, for every modules you are writing some function. So we are using the notion of the function, and later you will come to know that how you can write the function in the MATLAB. So for a small task, you need to write some function that will do, like you have the factorial. So you have the fact, if you are supplying some value, say 5, if input is 5, then this is the function which computes the factorial of 5, like this. So this is whenever you are going to use, say x divided by factorial 5. Okay, so instead of writing the program here, you just call the function fact5. So you say that fact5. So this is the purpose of function. So whenever you have the big task, you are dividing the big task into the smaller one, and for every smaller subtask you are writing the function. And then what you need, actually you need to call the functions one by one as required, and then you are solving the big problem. And this is the good way of writing the program. And this is the skill, actually. Even computer persons are required to develop this kind of skill. They need to break the larger program into the smaller module, and for a smaller module they need to write the function. And finally in the main program, only the main program, function of the main program is to combine all such functions. This should be happen. So this facilitates the function, facilitates the modular programming. So you are writing the module, small modules. Okay, then we have the data structures, like the array. You have the data structures, means group of values you are referring with the help of the single variables you have. Input, output, object-oriented programming features is also there. We are not going to study here object-oriented programming. Later on, if you wish, if you want to use in your research, then you can learn yourself. There is no issue. So you have the MATLAB working environment also. So there are a number of tools and facilities you will find in the MATLAB. In the MATLAB, you will have the number of tools, and every tool is actually developed by the different companies, and that's why tools, whenever you are going to use the tools for your research purpose, like someone may go for the image processing tool, or someone may go for the statistical tool, or someone may go for the mathematical computations, or evolutionary computation, or particle sum optimizations, or any kind of simulation kind of work, then you have to go for the specialized tools. And in the basic, once you download the basic version, once you install the basic version of the MATLAB, you may not find the all kinds of tools. And once you require, then you can purchase the tools one by one. So you have the number of tools in the MATLAB for the specific purpose, and then these tools are designed by the different companies, and you have to pay for them. Actually, you need to use the tools and you need to pay for them. Some tools comes with the MATLAB you once install, but some specialized tools for that you have to purchase explicitly. So graphics is also very strong in the MATLAB. With the help of the graphics, you will be able to plot, visualize the data. You have the image processing kind of things, animation, presentation. You will have the graphs, two-dimensional graph, three-dimensional graphs. You will be able to plot. So graphics is very helpful in the MATLAB, and those who are the person having the mechanical background or applied sciences, it is very useful. This part is very useful, because most of the time actually you are worried about how to plot the graph, and for plotting the graph it is very easy with the help of the MATLAB. See, nowadays actually some kind of trend is going to change in the research also. So earlier you have some data and you have provided the data into the form of the tables like the thing, but nowadays people are using the graphs for communicating your results. And nowadays, if you are good at developing the graphs, then there is a more chance that your paper is being accepted, those who are in the mathematics or applied science persons. Because I have seen some examples in the last batch students. Earlier they were they don't have the knowledge about the MATLAB, but once after completion of the coursework, they have used MATLAB for their graph purpose. And once they have given the data analysis, when they have given the conclusions of the result experiment with the help of the graphs, then they told me that okay, very easily our paper is being accepted. So this is very useful. Those who are in non-computer backgrounds, how to plot the graph, this is one of the challenging tasks for the students. So with the help of the MATLAB, you don't require to write very complex program. Just 2-3 lines you need to write, and you will have the graph. And so this is the beauty of this MATLAB actually. So that's why MATLAB is not only, you should not mean that it is very difficult language. No, it is not very difficult, very simple language. That's why MATLAB is being used by any every researchers, those who are not having the much programming skills. Mainly mechanical students, electronics students, mostly they are using the MATLAB because they don't have the skills for the writing the complex program, and with the help of the MATLAB, they find it very easy. So only the thing drawback you can say in the MATLAB is that the MATLAB is slow. If you are writing the big programs, then it is somewhat slow as compared with the writing the program in the C++ or Java. So, but you don't require to write some kind of complex program. You don't require to write the 2000 lines of code or 1000 lines of code. You just in your research work, I'm sure that you are just only you are requiring 10 to 5 lines. For plotting the graph, you will need hardly 5 lines code for plotting the graphs. And for if you are going for the some specific tools, image processing or something else, the very small statement instruction you need to write. You don't require to write even 500 lines or 200 lines. You will finish the work within the 50 sentence or 50 statements or 100 statements, and very easily you will be able to write the program, and it is not the case of the time consuming. So once somebody is interested for writing the program, having the 4,000 line, 3,000 line, and 10,000 lines, then you may have the MATLAB. Once you are going to use the MATLAB, then it may be slow somewhat. Otherwise, there is no issue at all. The function in the MATLAB is rich with the functions. Actually, you will find a lot of built-in function in the MATLAB. So we have a lot of built-in functions, and also you can design your own function also, and later on you can use just like the built-in function. So we have in the MATLAB you will find the vast collection of the MATLAB function. So like you have the sine, sum, you want to perform the sum, you can use the function sum, and there are many matrix functions, and you will have the function for computing the factorials, you will have function for doing some kind of mathematics like pi and Pinero inverse, or in finding the inverse of some matrix, or finding the square root. There are number of built-in function available in the MATLAB. So MATLAB is rich in the functions. So you don't worry. Most of the time you are going to use the built-in function in the MATLAB. And if the built-in function is not there, you can design your function for that task. And if you want to perform the same task, and more than one place, then you can use just function you have defined. So you can write the function in the means you can define the function, your function, and later on, just like the built-in function in the MATLAB, you can use your own function. So like constructing the circle, if you are going to constructing the circle, okay. So you are constructing the circle of given radius r. So if you have defined the function like this, actually for computing the circle, for plotting the circle, we don't have the function in the MATLAB, built-in function is not there. So if you can write the function that can plot the circle on given radius, and later on whenever you require to construct the plot for the given radius of the circle, then you just run this function. And once you run the function, it will ask the value of r, and if you submit, say for example 5, then it will construct the circle of radius 5. If you submit the 50, then it will construct the circle of radius 50. So you don't require to write again and again the same line of code. One time you need to write, and later on you can use just like the MATLAB built-in function for your own function. So this is the good thing in the MATLAB. We have the number of functions in the MATLAB you will find. So yes, we already know that everything in MATLAB is a matrix. MATLAB is an interpreted language. This is one thing you need to know, that in the programming language, we have the facilities. We have the translator actually. So whether you are going to interpret or whether you are using compiler. So some high-level programming language like C, C++, you know that you need compilation work. So you need compiler, and once you have the compiler, then you are writing the programs, and once you write the program, then you are going to compile, and once you compile, then you will find some kind of bugs in your program. So you may have some kind of bug, means errors in your program, then you can remove it. But as soon as you are writing some statement, a is equal to b plus c, okay, and if you are writing the statement, and as soon as you are writing the statement, you can check that whether this statement is correct or not, when it is going to evaluate the correct value or not. And that's why this facility is actually available once the language is interpreted. So you have MATLAB is interpreted. You don't require to run complete program for finding the errors. You just write one statement, and if there is some error, you can find. There is no issue. So the interpreted language, the MATLAB is interpreted. So you can see every time you type some function, and if you have made some mistake, it will prompt some for the error. So you will come to know that, okay, I have made mistakes and there is an error in this kind of statement. So this is the interpreted language. It's not a compile. We don't have the compiler in the MATLAB. We have the interpreter. MATLAB does not need any variable declaration, no dimension statement. Like, see, actually, why we need in computer, why we need to declare the variable? You first remember this. If I say that, if I told you that, okay, go to, say, I may say that, okay, go to some, say for example, I'm say T, I'm using the T, or I'm say that, okay, double T, go to TT. If I ask that go to double T, if you come to me and I will say that, okay, go to TT. So what do you mean by this? What you will do? If I submit this, if I tell you like this, go to TT, then you don't know what is TT, because I know what I mean, but you don't know what is TT. So immediately you will ask that, sir, what do you mean by the TT? And this is the unknown identifier in programming language. Once you use this kind of variable without declaring what is the meaning of this, then this is the unknown identifier. Your compiler will generate the error, which is the unknown identifier. Why it is so? Because computer don't know what you mean by this is not the built-in function, or this is not the standard keywords in your program or in your programming language. This is not the keyword. So if it is not the keyword, it is not the built-in function. If you are using your name actually for your convenience, then you have to tell the computer that what you mean by this. So if somebody say that, oh, go to TT, then you will ask that, okay, what do you mean by the TT? And I may say that, okay, TT is equal to sorry, research center. So I have defined that TT means research center, and I'm telling you that, oh, go to TT means go to research center. Then you will not ask. First, if I mention that TT is equal to research center, then I let you know that, okay, go to TT. Then you will not ask any question to me, because you know the meaning of TT now. And same thing happens in the case of computer. If you are not declaring the variable, if you say, if you TT is the some variable where you are going to store the integer, then in the C or C++, you know that you have to tell that, okay, this is the integer. So int, this is the keywords in the C programming language. This means integer. The whatever variable name you are writing, you mean that this variable will hold the value integer. So this is the meaning. This is the case of declaration. This is the way you are saying that, okay, I am declaring the variable. So this is the variable declaration. So whatever variable you are using you have to declare it first. What kind of value, whether your TT is holding the integer value, or whether your TT is holding the float value, or whether it is holding some some kind of character or string, you can say. So you need to define at the beginning of the program before using the variables. This is known as the variable declarations. So variable declaration is very important. Most of the students make mistake that they are not declaring the variable and they are using in the statement of their program. So compiler generates the unknown identifier here. But here you should be happy that in MATLAB we don't require to declare the variable. If you want to use some variable, and in that variable you want to assign some integer value, say you have the a, you just say that a is equal to 5. And once you say a is equal to 5, and a will automatically become the integer value. You don't require some, if after that you can say a is equal to 5.5, then this will hold the float value. X is equal to, if you say this, it is the case of this, you have the character, you can say. So whatever value you are going to assign, it will become that type. So you don't require to say in advance that a is integer or a is float here. If you are assigning the integer value, it will become the integer. If you are assigning the float, it will become the float. But you know that everything in MATLAB is what? Matrix. So once you say a is equal to 5, so you have the 1 by 1 matrix is created. So this is stored in the form of the matrix generally. So in MATLAB, whenever you are using, whenever you wish to use the variable, you don't hesitate. You can use just whatever value you will assign, it will become that type. So this is the benefit of your MATLAB. You don't require to remember that whether I have declared this variable or not. You don't require to declare. Whenever you are want to use, you can just use. So this is biggest benefit, you can say. No dimension statements. You are not specifying that whether it is the two-dimensional. It is like you have the matrix. Matrix can have the, this can be the matrix, like you will have the one row and three columns. You can say 1 by 3. Sometimes you may have this 2 by 4, 2 rows and 4 columns. You have the matrix. So if A is, say this, if this is the, you can say that A is equal to, you are going to assign the matrix where you have the 3 values, 1 row and 3 columns. Sometimes you can say B is equal to, you may say that B is equal to 2 rows and you have the 4 columns. So you don't require to give dimension that, okay, this is the two-dimensional two-dimensional matrix, or this is the one, only you have the 1D, one dimension. Generally, if you are going to use the two-dimensional matrix or two-dimensional array in other programming language, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, say you have the array and your array can be one-dimensional or two-dimensional, like this is in you have. So for defining this, you have to mention that how many rows and how many columns during the declaration. But whenever you are going to use the MATLAB, then you cannot just assign like A is equal to this. And here you don't require at the beginning to declare that A has the 4 rows and 3 columns, like the thing. Dimension you don't require to, automatically this matrix is assigned to this variable. And A is holding the matrix having the 4 rows and 3 columns. So here dimension you don't require to define. This was the meaning. And packaging you are not going to use here. No storage allocation, no pointers. Here pointers are not there. So storage allocation is done once you are going to execute interpretation. Now programs can be run step by step with full access to all variable functions, because step by step, because you know that it is the interpreted. So you can run every statement one by one. There is no issue. Okay. Now, whenever you launch your window MATLAB, then you will have the windows of like this. Okay. So you will have the windows, and here you have seen that this is the written MATLAB, and this is one window. This is one window. You have the one window. You may have some other window also, and there is a facility that you can close the window. If you don't want this window at that time, you can close it. Whenever you want to use, you can view again. If you don't want this, then you can also close it. When you don't want this window, you can close it. So what about these windows? This is the, you know that you can see the sign like this. This is the sign, and this is what? This is the command prompt. Means once you have launched the MATLAB, once you have installed your MATLAB license, but you need to MATLAB is not a free software. It has you need to take the license for the MATLAB, and also it is good practice to use the license version. And if you might have MATLAB in your organization license version, or if it is not, then you can also download the student version from the net maths work and our evaluation version of the MATLAB, and then also it will be okay for this particular course. So see, whenever you are launching the MATLAB, then you will find this kind of sign. This is the window where you have the sign. Once this sign comes, means this MATLAB is ready to take your commands. So this is the command window. This is known as the command window. So you are going to write the commands. That's why this is a command window you have. So here you can write the commands. You can write commands one by one, and you can also see the value of the commands one by one. As soon as you are typing the commands, like you have the this, and every time you are writing some statement a is equal to 5 and you are pressing enter, you will have some value. Okay, so just like this, I have already launched the MATLAB in my system. So this is the kind of window you are going to see in the Mat. So this is the command window you have. Whenever you are writing the command like a is equal to 5 and just press enter, and you see that a is what, 5. So if you have, if you say that a is equal to 3, 4 and 5 and this, and once you press enter, then now this is the, here you see that okay, this is the integer, this is the actually one by one matrix, and here you are having a is holding the matrix how much, 1 2 3, 1 by 3, this, so you have the three values. So this is the matrix. You don't require to specify at the beginning that I am holding the three values, this is the array and this is the one row and three columns. So you can also have the b, like b is equal to say 6, 7 or 9, and so you have the value like this. So a is equal to 3 4 5 and b is equal to 7 9. Now you can say c is equal to say you have the a is the matrix, and you have, say for example, b is also other matrix, and you have like this, and you see that you are getting two-dimensional matrix here. So see, you don't require at the beginning to declare that a is the one-dimensional array, or this is holding the, c is holding the two, okay, two rows and three columns, and see that what I did, simply a is one array, one matrix, and b is other matrix, and simply I have used a colon b. Here semicolon is used for terminating the line, so it means that I am writing the next array in the second line, so it will become first line a is 3 4 5, a is equal to 3 4 5, and then the second line 5 7 9, 5 7 9, like this. So whatever actually you are using, you don't require to declare at the beginning, and you don't require to declare the dimension. This is I'm going, and this is the command prompt. Once the your MATLAB is ready, and this command prompt you will see, and whenever you see the commands, you can run the commands one by one, like that. Okay, and here you see that this is the workspace, and in the workspace this window is known as the workspace window, and in the workspace, you have the variables names. So you have the variable, whatever variable you have used till now, there is a listing that okay, these are the variable you have used, and it gives the size of how many elements are there. So you will find in the workspace. Here you have some file names that you might have written the programs, and you have the file names. So once you click some file names, then you will have say if you are clicking you click this program, then you are having, I have written the program for this, and this is the program written. This is the program written on the, so you have the example, you have the exam q2019m. So see, if you just want to execute this, it may execute hopefully. So exam q2019. So you just write the name of the file and press enter. Your program, if it is okay without syntax error, then it will give you output. Okay. So see, this is the producing the graph. I have written, I written the program. I wrote the program earlier for constructing the graph like this. So see, this is the output of the graph. And if somebody asks you that plot the graph like this, can you write a program for constructing the graph like this? See how difficult it is in the other programming language. And with the MATLAB, if you want to plot this kind of graph, it is very easy for writing the program. So if you are interested to write the, so this is the program written for constructing the graph of that kind. In the later lectures, in the next classes, I will let you know that one by one, when we go for the plotting, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional plot, at that time, I will discuss you that how you can construct the graph like this. So you need to write very few statements for constructing the graph like that. So this is the advantage of your MATLAB. Okay. Whenever you see the MATLAB, you will have the different kinds of window. So here, see, and depends on the versions, you will find some workspace here or here, it doesn't matter. So here your main thing is that you will have the command history, command window, and here is the command history window also. You will also have the command history window. Means whatever commands you have used, like I have used earlier a plus b, c is equal to, or you have used the a is equal to some value, b is equal to something, and if you are going to use the command some like c is equal to a plus b, like the thing, then c is equal to a plus b, this is the command. And whenever you have the command like this, c is equal to a plus b, and a and b you have defined earlier for some kind of matrix like this, and b is equal to some matrix like this, 3 elements, 3 columns, 1 row 3 columns, 1 row 3 columns, and you are going to add, and the result will be here. So this is the command actually you have given, and once you press enter, you are getting the output. And after that, if you want to use the same command again, then since the command is stored in the command history, so this is the command history where you find all commands you have used so far. And if you are interested again for the same command, by pressing the key in your keyboard up and down arrow, you will be able to reach that particular command. So this is also one window which is known as the command window. So whenever, so mainly you have the command window where you are writing the commands, instructions. Then you have the workspace where the variables are stored, where whatever variables you have used in the program, the listing of all variables you will find here. And other window is the command window, command history window, where whatever commands you have used so far in the programs or in your MATLAB environment, in the current environment, then whatever commands you have, it will display. And later on, if you want to use the same command with the help of the arrow keys up and down, you can go to appropriate commands and press enter. That commands will be at the, if you are here and you want to use the commands c is equal to a plus b, then you just see the command window and move the cursor at that point by using the up and down arrow, and you press enter. The same command will be here. You don't require to retype again. So in this way you are going to save the time. So this is the, whenever you launch some MATLAB, you will have the window like this, and until this prompt comes, you will not be able to execute any command. So this prompt comes means your MATLAB is ready for the execution. So download the MATLAB and see at home that there are different windows. See, this is one example here that will let you know that how simple to write the program in the MATLAB as compared with the other programming language. It is very simple. And now see, a is what? A is you have not declared this variable, what is this? But a is equal to 1, means it will hold the value 1, like the integer, this is the integer. But you know that everything in MATLAB is matrix, so it's actually, this integer is also stored by 1 matrix. So this is the, you can say that matrix, and this is the kind of iteration you are going to do. So here length of A means number of element in the A. So A is because you know that everything is MATLAB is matrix. So what is the length of this matrix? Means number of elements, means number of dimensions. Actually length is different here. Length means dimension. So longest dimension, length will become the longest dimension. So if you have only the one row and 5 columns, then length will be 5. So here actually you have only the one row and many columns here. So here actually the number of columns is the length here, because you have the one row and columns are more. So length, once you say length of A, means length of A will return. This is the built-in function in the MATLAB. I have told you earlier that there are a lot of built-in function in the MATLAB. Once you say length A, it will return the value of longest dimension. So length A is less than 10. It will go up to when this condition satisfied, means it will go up to 9. 9 is less than 10, yes. When 10, if length is 10, you are not going to, this condition will not true, because 10 is not less than 10. So this condition will be false. So it will go from 1 to 10. Sorry, 1 to 9. So whenever you go to 1 to 9, so say that whenever A is equal to 1, you have displaced 1. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Because 9 times you have to enter. The first time it is always automatically you will have the display. See, once you are not in the MATLAB, actually you will come to know that whenever you are writing like this A is equal to 1, and if you have not terminated this with the semicolon, then immediately the value of A will be displayed. Okay, so if you have not written the semicolon, then only this will be displayed. So here semicolon is not there, means value is going to display here. So A is equal to 1. Now A less than 1, length of A is 1 here, 1 is less than 10. So what you are going to do? Here you are going to do like this. You have the 0 and A means 1. A has only one value, and you are going to say that 1 plus 1 and 0. So 1 and 0, and you are going to 8. So what you are getting? 1 and 1. This is, and you have not used semicolon here, means 1 and 1 you have found. Now A will becomes 1. A becomes now this. Again, once you go for the length, it is length is less than 10, because it is up to 2. This is 2 only. Length is 2 only here. So again you are going to execute this statement. So you are assigning the same value. So you have the 0 and A means 1 1. So this is like this. Then plus, and again you have the 1 1, and then you have the 0. So once you are adding the two matrix, 0 plus 1, it is 1 actually, and 1 plus 1, this means 2, and 1 plus 0 means 1. So 1 to 1, you are getting 1 to 1. Then next time 1 to 1 plus 1 to 1, once you are going to 8, then you will have the like this. So next time once you go here, then you are having the situation like A is 1 to 1. So here you will have 1 to 1, and here you are having the 0. So next you are having the 0 here, 0 A, and A is 1 to 1, and here you are going to say plus, and A means 1 to 1, and you have the 0, and then you are going to 8. So 1 0 plus 1 1, 1 2 3, 2 plus 1 3, and 1 plus 0 1. So 1 3 3 1. So you are having 1 3 3 1. Next you will find this value, next you will find this value, next you will find this. As soon as the length is 9, once length is 9, you are going to compute this, and you are finding this final row. See how simple this is to write the program in the MATLAB of this kind of, this is something known as the Pascal's triangle in the literature. So this is the beauty. You don't require to write very much complication. You just have similar, like the English language, you are supposed to add the values. So you have the matrix A, and you have the matrix A, and one column you are going to add. So where you are adding the column, you are adding the column, and value of that column is what? 0. And here you are adding the column at the beginning, and value of that column is 0. And you are just adding, and adding means you know the mathematics, and you know how the matrix are added. And then it will hold this latest value, updation value. So every time the old value is replaced by the new value. So whatever the new value is there, it is going to display. So this is the example how your MATLAB is going to perform. So the things that looks very complicated, with the help of the MATLAB, you will write very simple line of code, simple programs to achieve the same kind of information, for which you need to write number of lines in other programming language. Okay. So you will see some complicated matrix also, there is no issue. So here you have the matrix, and see in the MATLAB, one thing you know, that MATLAB, the numbering starts from the 1. The numbering starts from the 1. So first column, second column, first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth, sixth, like 10 columns you have, and you have 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3. In other programming language, you know that the numbering starts from the 0 in some programming language like C. Okay, but here in the MATLAB, the numbering starts from the 1. So whenever you see, if you want to access this element, then first you specify the row number, which rows you are interested. So which is the row? Row is 5. And what is the column? The column is 4. The first value is for the row and next value is for the column. And instead of the square bracket, you have to write just parenthesis. So M is the name of this matrix. This is the name of the matrix M. So M is equal to this. And if you want to access this particular element of this M, then what you need to show, you have to say like this: you are interested in 5th row and 4th column. The value at the 5th row and 4th column, which is 19. And this is the notion. Actually, later on you will also find some more. We will practice more. But you just we have the first value is for the row and second is for the column. This is so numbering always start from the 1 is already given here. So your numbering starts from the 1. Rows and columns are always numbered starting at the 1. We have seen. Okay. MATLAB matrices are of various types to hold different kinds of data, usually float or integer. You can assign float value or integer, there is no issue. A single number is really a 1 by 1 matrix, we have discussed. MATLAB variables are not given a type and do not need to be declared. Any time you can use for any value. And you don't require to declare that A is holding the integer value. Sometimes you may have 5.5. It is holding the float value. Any matrix can be assigned to any variables. So if A is equal to 5, then you can say that B is equal to A. So this is the matrix which is assigned to B. When the B is also holding the same data as you have the A. This is. So these are the some brackets. You are using the square bracket for defining the matrix. Whenever I have already demonstrated you that whenever you have the command prompt and you are writing A, then 1 space 2 space 4. Once you are separating space, it means space is separate space. You are with the help of the space, actually you are going to separate the columns. So first column, this is the value at the first column, this is the value at the first second column, third column in the same row. This is the first. So you have this. So actually this is this. Whenever you say like this, so 2 and colon, semicolon, 7, once you use the column means you are terminating the line. So 7 will be in the second row, 4 in the third row. So this first row holds 2, second row holds 7, and third row holds 4. Like this. In the first row you have 2, 7, and 4. In the second row you have the 3, 8, and 9. So this is the output. Now, what is AA? If you have the B is equal to AA, B is what? A is holding some values. So this is first you have to hold this, then next you are going was 274. Now the latest value is what? 274389, 274389. Once you say AA, you are concatenating actually. So what you will find? So 274389, then 274389. So you are concatenating. So you have the answer. 274 this is, and this is the A, and from here to here this is also A. So this is the matrix, and this is the same matrix. So AA. So 274,389, 274,389, like this. So you are making the tiles. If you want to and make the tile in the next, you want, if you want to increase the rows instead of the column, you have in here you have increased the columns. If you are going to increase the rows, then you will need to write B is equal to, what you need to say, A. So A is here, then the next you will have the same matrix you are going to call. A is equal to 1, 2, if you have 1, 2 and 4, 5, and B is equal to A into A. So now this is the matrix multiplication you are going to use, and this is the matrix multiplication. So your A is 1, 2, so you have 1, 2, then 4 and 5. And once you say A into A, then what results you are getting? You are getting this result. If you have mathematics clear, then you will find out the answer. So 4 and 5. So if your A is 4, A is 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, then you are going to multiply 1, 2, 4, 5. Then what you need? Row and columns. You know that the rules of multiplication of the matrix, row by column. So how you can get the first value? You have to consider the first row, and you have to consider the first column here. So 1 into 1, 1, 2 into 4, what? 2 into 4, 8. So 1 plus 8, that is 9. So you have the 9 value. So I think you know how to multiply the matrix. So say that in other programming language, whenever you are supposed to multiply the matrix, then you have to do you have to apply the loops. And here you don't require to apply any kind of loop, just like your intuition that A is there, A is the matrix, and I want to multiply the same matrix. And the result I am going to store in the B, and you are getting the answer. Whenever you have this, you are getting the answer like this. So once you have the dot operator, later on I will point you clear that here you have the A star A. Here you have A dot star. Now here element multiplications are there. So here actually you are not going to multiply just like the row and column. You are doing the element by element multiplication. So 1 into 1, 1. 2 into 2, 4. 4 into 4, 4 and 4, 16. 5 into 5, 25. So element by element comparisons is done. So this is the use of this period sign. So next we will explore more in the next classes. This is just a glimpse you have. So this is the matrix. You know that A is this, and B is equal to, say you have the B is equal to matrix, and sometimes if you want that, okay, C is equal to AB. So C is the matrix and B is what? B is the matrix, and now this will act as the index. So which one is the third one? 300 is the third one. Then fifth one is the 5. Then sixth one is 600. So C is actually, you are having the value of C is actually this. So C is holding this matrix. So this is the very simple statement you need to write for finding the sub part of the matrix. So sub part of the some elements from the matrix you can take away, like the things. Image processing can also be done. If you have some picture, you can load the picture, and this is the command. This is the command you need to know that whenever you want to load some picture, you have some image and you want to display the image, then this is the I am read, image read, and this is the name of the picture you are getting, and you will have the display here. So okay, so age assigned, A stores now this picture, and once you want to show the picture, the I am show. So means you will show the output. So they say that in the image processing also there are some commands you need to know, and with the help of that you can show your pictures also. this picture will be in the current directory. This will be in the current working directory. Otherwise, you have to specify the path. So in MATLAB, whenever you are specifying the file name or something else, the MATLAB first search the current directory. Whatever is your current directory, it will search. So if it is your data is somewhere else, then you have to change the directory actually to make that as the current directory, or you bring that data into your current working directory. You can, there is a command in the MATLAB. With the help of that command, actually you will come to know that what is the current directory I am working. You will know. There is no issue. You have the image. Image means it is stored in the form of the pixels, and it is the matrix actually. That's what you have this size. So there are different kinds of two-dimensional graph, three-dimensional graph in the MATLAB. So MATLAB's graphics is also strong. So most of in this class we will learn that how to go for the two-dimensional. What are the different two-dimensional graphs? How we can plot the two-dimensional graph, like how you can plot the bar graph, how you can plot the pie graph, how you can plot the, say, some graphs, semi-log also you can also plot. And you can plot the convolution graph also. There is no issue. So as is your requirement, you will learn some skill here, and later on whenever you require to plot the specific kind of graph, you can search the command and you can plot. You will have the skill now. In three-dimensional, there are a number of three-dimensional graphs, and you will see here. So 3D plotting can also be done when you want to see the effect of the independent variable on the dependent one. So you will see. So this is the brief about the MATLAB introduction. Okay, so what I advise you that now you should download the MATLAB and you ready with writing the program from the next time. When
सर सॉफ्टवेयर परचेज करना पड़ेगा या उस पे इजी अवेलेबल है, गूगल से ले लेंगे?
Google में you will find in the Google the students version you will find, or evaluation version you will find.
Okay.
You will not find license version. For license version you have to purchase, or either your organization should purchase.
Thank you.
The only thing is there.
Sir, we can use the student version for now, or we have to use
You can use student version. It will be okay. No issue. Whenever you are going for the specific tools, actually, then you require to go for the license version and purchase of that kind of tool.